First off, my name is Ryan Howard. I am a psychologist and a life coach specializing in HSP. If you are watching this video right now, then either you happen to see my other video on YouTube about highly sensitive people, or you just happen to be perusing my website and you landed here. Either way, I'm very happy you did because we're gonna have an awesome talk today. We're gonna be going in depth all about the 3 key factors that influence the life of every highly sensitive person that every HSP needs to know. The first key factor that influences the lives of every HSP is an increased necessity to manage our energy. Anyone who relates to these different characteristics I've been talking about understands personally how exhausting it can be to have these different characteristics, to be someone that is highly empathetic, to be someone that feels the emotions of others, that constantly thinks critically about the experiences they have in their lives, that probably has the tendency to be an overthinker. All these different elements take a lot of energy and it can be exhausting at times. And we typically don't think about it in the sense of energy. Yeah, sure, we may say I'm feeling stressed. Yeah, sure, we may say I'm feeling tired. But to think about these elements like emotions, like thinking, like, getting overstimulated, like when we're around other people and we get exhausted. Thinking about this in the context of energy is something that we don't usually do, but we need to start doing it because that's literally what it is. Our energy levels, which are such a major element of our daily experience of life, they have such an immense association to these different elements of being a highly sensitive person. The depth of processing, that's saying that we are thinking and relating deeply to our emotions and thoughts. We're really affecting ourselves when we're, constantly having to process and overthink and over-evaluate and over-contextualize everything going on in our lives. When it comes to our emotions, the emotions that we're encountering, not just our own emotions, but also the emotions of other people. When we are integrating their emotions, when we are feeling the emotions of others, when we can feel their mood shift negatively and we feel it internally, experiencing that emotion is energetically expensive. That also drains us. These are 2 of the main reasons that we get overwhelmed, that we get overstimulated so easily. It's not that we're soft or weak. It's that we're processing a larger amount of data. We're experiencing a higher level of stimulation that we have to manage and navigate. And so when we come to understand this first key factor, that energy is a paramount concept in the lives of a highly sensitive person, it helps us to understand that we need to go about our lives, that we need to redesign our lifestyle, that we need to redesign our ways of thinking and feeling and relating to other people and ourselves in a way that maximizes our uniqueness as HSPs. We need to take a look at our habits. We need to take inventory of the people that we're around. If we're around energy drainers, if we're around people that like to feed off of our empathy, instead of being aware of the fact that our empathy comes at a cost, and that cost is largely energetic. Number 2, now when you first hear this one, you might, feel a little bit defensive when it comes through, but hey, just stick with me. I'm going somewhere with this, and this is actually a compliment, not a negative statement I'm making. That HSPs are typically more emotionally reactive. They have a higher level of emotional reactivity than other people generally. But understand something, that this doesn't mean that HSPs are more aggressive or more angry or more likely to lash out. Because, hey, let's remember, HSPs are known to be some of the most loving, empathetic, and, calm and aware people. So this isn't saying that, again, we're aggressive and crazy. What it is saying is that we're experiencing a higher level of emotional reactivity internally. Because what being an HSP really means is that we have a unique trait called sensory processing sensitivity. And without getting into the details of it, it's basically saying that our central nervous system is finely tuned, so it is able to receive stimuli and information on a more sensitive level. It's able to pick up a higher range of stimulation, of senses, of experiences, things like that. It's able to experience a higher range of those things because of our sensitivity. So our central nervous system being more finely tuned, being more sensitive in this way is, yes, going to have beautiful elements of helping us to pick up on things. Like when I was talking about how we can sense the subtle shifts in people's moods. It's part of the reasons coming from the sensory processing sensitivity. While it has these positive elements, the other element of it is, if we are more sensitive, if let's say your pinky is sore, let's say it's hurt, let's say you slammed it in a door, right? So it's now more sensitive. If you flick that pinky while it's in pain, it's going to have a higher level of reactivity in the sense of feeling the pain more. But that doesn't mean it's going to react. It doesn't mean your pinky is going to get mad. You get what I'm saying? We experience the higher reactivity internally, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we express it externally, right? So here's the relevance of this though. Just because we're not necessarily expressing it externally all the time doesn't mean that is taking away from the fact that we feel it internally. Feeling that higher level of reactivity. Let's say if somebody says something or does something that triggers us, that we feel physiologic, we have to manage that higher level of emotional reactivity ourselves. We have to manage the different manifestations of how our sensitivities play out for us. So the third key factor that influences the lives of every HSP is the truth that this is a biological trait. It is not a disorder, which means that these nuanced elements of our lives that derive from our unique central nervous system that we have, this is biological. We've not only been born with it, but it is physically in our body. We can't change our central nervous system. And so, hey, you guys like the magic trick I just pulled on you? I got a wardrobe change with the beads and everything. I'm playing though. Essentially, you have just heard the 3 key factors that influence every HSP. And if you've resonated with these different factors and you've resonated with the things we've been talking about throughout this time, then you most likely are a highly sensitive person yourself. And so now that you've developed some introductory knowledge about what being an HSP means and how it applies for your personal life, the question becomes, how are you going to make this knowledge actionable? How are you going to apply it into your life and actually glean results out of that knowledge? Now, don't worry, I have no intention of trying to sell you anything. As a matter of fact, I want to give you something. I have created a 3-day mini course for HSPs, the HSP mini course. Creative how I came up with that name, right? But literally all you have to do is create a login account on my website, and which we're on my website right now. So once you create a login and you go into the dashboard, the mini course is right there. It shouldn't take you any more than an hour 15 minutes to finish the entire course, but it's supremely valuable and it will give you some insights about how you can take steps forward. So I appreciate you guys, and take the 3-day mini course. Test me on that. It's a challenge. Have a good one. Peace.